Hey, okay, so it is Monday, January 22nd, 2018, and we're doing our weekly Q&A. We do not have any major super agenda today, except that Charlotte asked for a few minutes, so we'll make sure Charlotte has some time to tell us what's going on in her world.
Awesome.
But aside from that, really just want to hear how everything's going with all of you guys, and if I think of anything I want to talk about, I'll let you know, but we'll start with just a quick little check-in and just see how everyone's doing, see what topics come up for discussion. So I'm going to go in camera order here, which means Jennifer and then Charlotte.
Okay, so this is a very big day. I look calm, but we're actually closing on the property at 2:30. So, 2.5 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
So we did the walkthrough this morning. It looks really good. We've been working on just our strategies and the layouts and where are we going to get chairs. That's our big thing right now. If anybody can help me out on that, like what kind of chairs and where can I get them for a good price?
Okay.
That's the one thing that we don't really have in terms of furniture.
Okay, awesome. We can definitely have a talk about that. Congrats, Jennifer. This is great.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Woo! The journey is underway.
Yeah, well, I was thinking the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be a marathon. I was like, no, wait a minute. We've just done the half marathon. Now we're going to do the other half.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. Awesome. Okay. Thanks, Jennifer. Charlotte and then Melanie.
Yeah, so I just had things are going good in Markham, Canada. I asked to be in the hot seat today just for a couple of reasons, so we can get back to it, but just wanted to talk about one thing was I've been asked to do a co-working manual for United Churches of Canada because they're opening up co-working spaces, which is really cool. And yeah, just some questions about how much you advertise for your members for when they do work events or workshops, sorry.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. We'll talk about it. Melanie and then Jen.
Okay. So last week I started pre-selling memberships and I have 4 members that have signed up so far, and I have 2 more that just spoke to me this morning that are going to sign up this week. And so I'm super excited. I've been super nervous about starting to pre-sell memberships, but it's starting to happen, and I'm in negotiations over a new space because the last space didn't work out. But so yeah, so things are still moving forward.
Congratulations. Where did you get the first 4 members?
Well, so I sent out an email to all the people who've been following and participating in all the meetups the past 6 months. So a couple of them came from there, but then the two that are going to sign up, they never attended anything. But they saw that I made this launch. I had a couple of publications publish the press release, and so they're like, okay, we've been secretly stalking you, Melanie. Now we're like, here we are. We want to be part of it. So, yeah, who knew?
Wow, that's inspiring. That's what I'm nervous about too.
I hear little munchkin voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Penelope. Sorry, guys.
That's okay. Let's see Penelope. Are we going to show us Penelope?
Yeah. Hey, Penelope, come say hi.
Hi, Penelope.
Hi, Penelope. How are you? Oh, what a nice smile.
Wave. Say hi, everybody.
Do you have any important questions for the group?
Do you have any questions? Yeah. What are your questions? Ask your question.
It's just so cute.
Immediate shyness.
It's okay. You're just talking to people all over the world who are running businesses, and no big deal. No big deal. All right, all over all over North America at least.
Yeah.
Aw. Oh, she's so sweet. Okay, meeting adjourned. We're just gonna hang out now.
That's good.
Okay, so Melanie, I do want to stick a little bit more with the pre-selling. What did you sell? And how much did you charge? Like how much money did people give you? How did you set that up? Can you tell us a little bit?
So it's 15% discount off of the membership level of their choice, and that's for up to the first 6 months.
What percentage? 50 or 15?
15.
15. Okay, good.
15. Okay, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So they would get that discount for whatever they prepaid for up to 6 months.
Correct.
If I wanted a 15% discount for 6 months, I give you cash for 6 months right now, and you tell me how much that is, and yeah. So
I think you
So
sold
they
one to
only
Tony.
pay for the first month, then the second through 6 months are not discounted in that case?
No, they can have that discount for up to 6 months.
Oh, okay.
yeah. So if I understand right, Jennifer, I'm guessing with Melanie, what it would be is basically whatever you pay for before the place opens
Mm-hmm.
is what you get the discount on, and then once it's open, it's kind of,
Okay.
yeah.
So
What levels of membership do you have?
I have a 3-day-a-week membership,
Mm-hmm.
a full-time membership for a dedicated desk, and full-time. I have an office. I have a couple of offices available, and I have a one dual office as well. Yeah, those are my membership. And I have lower memberships as well, for those who just want to be part of the community, not necessarily have a desk.
Do you feel comfortable sharing what your 3-day membership charge is?
$170. Is it $170? Yeah, $170 a month.
Okay, thank you. So they filled out the application, they looked at your terms and conditions and all that.
Yeah.
They're registered, they're all
Yeah,
set.
they're already in the system, so they had to check off that they agree to the contract or the agreement, terms of use, and refund and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Did you take a deposit?
No, for this there isn't a deposit. This is their deposit, so to speak, because I don't have a space yet.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for a space, so they're all taking a chance with me.
Understandable, yeah.
I showed them the building that I'm focused on, so they like the location and they seem to be very excited about it.
Melanie, do you have any kind of clause that says that, if, since you don't have a location,
they'll get a full refund?
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, yes. Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's what the phone calls that I'm getting right now are like, so if this didn't work out, we're going to get our money back? I'm like, yes.
Absolutely.
It's also where it helps to just be a person. It's like, hey, I'm here. I live here. I'm not like somebody who's just showing up from out of town. So yeah, like we'll work it out. Cool.
Somewhere on the one of the chat groups, there was some mention of having a free co-working week. I think somebody in Paris had done this, where he had a soft opening, nothing happened. He did a free co-working week and then had a sign-up party on the Friday. Does anybody here have experience with that? Because we're thinking about doing that.
I've heard other people do that as well and have a lot of really good luck. I know Angel Kajkowski has done that a couple times, and she had a lot of good luck. I also want to do something similar and have a sign-up day. So
you said your remote work space.
Yeah, but I wasn't ready to sign people up then. But yeah, I think that's a really good idea. It's worked.
I think so too. And even something you can consider doing quarterly or yearly, because memberships always turning over.
Yeah.
So
The
this gets
spaces in
into
Minneapolis are doing that too. In St. Paul, the Evolve Workspace and Industrious does a free co-working week as well.
Just ongoing. Like come check us out for a week or
They associate it with their launch parties.
okay.
So Industrious is kind of like they're sort of like a chain like WeWork.
Okay.
They do their launch parties when they open a new space, and then they do a free week of co-working.
Well, that's a good idea.
I just heard of Industrious, like
I haven't.
a Facebook ad pop up from them. They looks really cool.
They have a lot of funding. They're working on being one of the major competitors to WeWork, so they will be scaling up significantly. So the free co-working conversation is definitely one that's been debated in various ways over the years because there have been very mixed experiences people have had. Some people have found that it devalues what they do. Some people have found it to be successful. I think ultimately it comes down to the extent to which you're able to integrate it into a kind of a bigger strategy. So for one, you don't necessarily count on it for direct leads. You might get some customers from, especially if you're just opening, to get people like in the door to be aware of it. But generally, the free co-working market and the paid co-working market are pretty different people. Yeah, there are a lot of people. I mean, go to any cafe in your town, and you'll see the people who will come and work in your space and not give you money, right?
That's true.
Okay.
Good point.
Yeah, but Tony, those are the people that I go ahead and give my card to, and I say, "Hey, here's a 1-day pass. Come on, check the space out." I have no fear with that.
Yeah. So there's that, and then there's giving. So if you go at it saying I'm going to get lots of customers, you might get disappointed. If you go at it saying I'm going to get lots of awareness and I want these people to be my ambassadors, then you might be really happy because maybe I don't have the budget and I'm the cafe, jockey, but my partner or my brother or whatever, is a potential customer, and then they end up, being the one who ends up paying. So focusing on it as an awareness thing. And what Angel does very effectively in Fort Collins is part of her effort as part of a regional alliance. And so it's not just her, it's all of the spaces in town, which creates a much, much larger collective sense of awareness. So we have such a mixed group here that everyone has joined at different times. So it's hard for me to remember when we talked about what or who here knows what, but there is a article I wrote about collaboration and competition and all of that. So the general takeaway is get to know the other space owners in town, and be friendly with them and develop relationships with whoever's willing to meet you. And it will work to your favor. I've had direct competitors who are like a block away from me in my space in New York, where one time their internet went down and they sent their people over to us. One time we had a hackathon that had way more people than we expected, and we called them up, and we already had keys because we had shared space once, and they were like, "Yeah, sure, could send them over, no problem." So you guys can, you can save each other's asses a lot, and if you really get along, you can do an alliance and raise awareness about co-working and make it more visible. Which really helps when, man, I really have to make a course or an ebook or YouTube video about this, the awareness level of your city. And, where Jennifer is in Bethlehem, there's no other co-working space, or maybe one other, or
there's really only one what I would call a true co-working space, not just offices being rented out. Just one other, and it's tech focused, and it's in a different section of town. But there is somebody who rents desks, and I already know him.
See, yeah. So this is the other thing is, in 5 years, there's probably going to be 5 or 10 co-working spaces in your city.
Yeah.
How can you be anticipating that, welcoming that, proactive about, put up your Google alerts or whatever, keep the antennas up. so that when those people show up, first of all, maybe their efforts can be directed into working within your space, because a lot of times people are community organizers. They don't need to lease a space. They just need a space.
Right.
But at the very least, you can say, hey, yeah, we're going to, we're raising awareness about co-working in general, and like make them your friend, So
Right.
I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but the free co-working thing works better, I think, if it's part of a concerted, larger effort. Maybe even coordinated with some other major event that's happening in your city. So if your city has like a startup week, or like an innovation week or something like that, a lot of cities have startup week, which is a really cool thing, by the way. That's another.
Okay, that's a great idea. Now, I wasn't just going to like announce this to everybody, put it in the paper. I'm going to write to people that I know are either freelancers or are what I would call influencers or referrers, and tell those people, just because I wanted to have the kind of the momentum, the like, hey, act now kind of thing. I'm not going to use those words, but the idea like this is time sensitive.
Yeah.
We've got something, so we're raising awareness, and we've got something particular that you could get somebody in on because it's a great deal and they could check out the space in advance.
Yeah.
So it's not just going to be general public. It's going to be people who already would have a good chance of being what I call qualified.
Yeah, so I love this. This is like valuing your space, right? So even if you say you want to get as many people as possible come to your space for a free week, there's lots of ways you can approach that, because you can say like, hey, everybody just show up and use my internet and print, everything on my printer. Or you could say like, you're a little bit more tricky about it. Maybe you're not even being public. You're spreading, maybe there's like a little card and you have to ask someone for it, or you have to fill out an application. There's some sense of, valuing your space and communicating that value to other people, even while you're effectively at the end of the day doing the exact same thing, which is giving away your space. There's totally different mindsets you can use when you approach that. So I'm all about the, if like give away your space totally, but do it with that framework in mind of do it in a way that gets people to understand like this is a valuable thing that I'm getting, and I should really be grateful for it, and I should work for it a little bit too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great ideas. Thank you.
Whew, man, we are diving right in, and we haven't even finished introductions. That's my mistake. I just really wanted to catch that from Melanie while we were talking about it. So why don't we finish your introductions, and then we got a couple topics we can discuss. We can come back to these things if we want to. So I've got Jen, and then Augie, and then on the phone we'll have Mike. So Jen, if you want to just give us a quick little hello.
Yeah, I had a big week. So there's a couple of other companies that are interested in the space that I have mentally moved into. And this is a space that I've met with the landlord a couple times. He came back with an extremely attractive build-out offer that's going to be amortized into the rent. I mean, they're going to basically finance the build-out.
Awesome.
They're a little concerned about my startup capital, so I'm putting together just some evidence that I have some for them, and I'm just hoping it's not too late, because I suspect that the other companies looking at the space are, well, I know that they're fitness related, because that's what our town needs, is another goddamn gym. Oh my gosh, you can just be so very fit if you live here. But so I suspect that they are, if not franchises or chains, that they're at least well funded. So that makes me a little nervous. So anyway, I had a meeting with the landlord and his dad. They're family-owned company, been around town forever. It was a really positive meeting, and I walked away feeling confident, but it's just going to come down to whether or not they want to take a risk on me. So I really hope they do. What else? I've also made some headway in finding an insurance company that will cover a co-working healthcare space. Melanie, I was actually talking to Stuart at, now the name of the firm flew out of my head, but anyway, he was saying, I don't know, even know how this came up, but he said, yeah, one of my clients in Arizona, she just had a problem with the landlord and HVAC. I'm like, I know who you're talking about.
Oh my God.
I hope that wasn't like an invasion of privacy, but he was a great guy. So I got to circle back with him.
That was a recommendation from Tony too. So
cool. Yeah. He knew exactly what I meant. Like he was right on, whereas everyone else is just kind of like, duh, I don't know. And right now I am reaching out to my. I did the letter of intent. In advance of my surprise meeting with the landlord. I sent it out to like 50 people, and in less than 24 hours, I got 11 people just signing something saying, "Yeah, I plan to give you money." So,
wow,
Good.
You got that many letters of intent? You said 11?
Yeah.
yay!
that's amazing.
Congrats,
Cool.
Jen.
So hopefully that'll translate into like actual money. Finally officially opened up my bank account, and right now I'm trolling my tribe to see who is interested in doing a trade for services with marketing and branding in exchange for membership. So and I'm leaving the country next week, so like all of this needs to happen this week.
Where are you going?
I'm going to lose 1,000 cool points, but I am going on a Disney cruise.
That's so cool.
Yay.
With my daughter and with my parents and husband. And we actually went last year, and I was expecting to hate every minute of it, and I actually really enjoyed it. So that's where we're going.
I've heard nothing but good things.
For a living, so we know about all of the different ones, and yeah, that sounds great.
I'm blown away by how great it was.
Awesome. By the way, network requests are always welcome here. You know, if you guys need help with something that is virtual, and actually I do have a network request, which is a drip campaign expert. So if anybody knows any drip campaign experts, I'd like to talk to them, or just market it. You just,
I'm sorry, I forgot my big question. So the big question on my mind right now is, do I want to go after an investor? I feel like my place might be, because it is such a niche, it's women focused, it's got childcare, we've got a very strong mission and vision. I'm feeling like it might be attractive to an investor who specializes in female founders, also women focused businesses. I don't know the first thing about getting an investor, or even how you work with one, or any of that. So that's the big thing on my mind right now.
I'm going to practice learning my lesson and not diving right into that topic right now, but I'm noting it.
Yeah.
There's a lot we could talk about there. So yes, let's definitely get you some money. Thank you, Jen. Augie, let's hear how things are going with you, and then we'll go to Mike on the phone.
Sounds good. I'm in Duluth, Minnesota, and we are working on kind of stitching together the community here. We had a co-working space that had about 30 people in it in 2010 to 2014. So kind of rebooting that in a different way. So where that is, kind of looking for a new zone to do that, a new building. So we're pretty close to that. And I've been kind of also working on kind of more a broader scale around in the Twin Cities too, because I spend time down there. So with some of the co-working spaces down there, we're working on like a Twin Cities. Did you hear about the Twin Cities Co-working Alliance in the group with the Evolve Workspace?
Yeah, go for it.
So we're talking with those guys about maybe doing that as more of like a regional thing. So like Wisconsin, Minnesota, whoever else is interested, because Jamie and Rochester might be interested too. So kind of taking that a step further and doing something a little bit bigger with more people. So like you were saying, with doing startup weeks or free co-working weeks with more of a focused effort for like co-working awareness, kind of with that in mind is kind of what we have in our minds. So that's what's been on my mind this week.
Awesome, man. No, that's great. So would love to talk more about that if we have time. And I think we have a new member from or in Minnesota. Perhaps I'm trying to dig it up now, but one way or another, let's definitely make sure that we have that conversation. Yeah, St. Paul. So there you go.
Nice.
Okay, so I'll make sure to remind me to connect you to the new member in St. Paul. Just to be in touch. Awesome. Thanks, Augie. Mike, how are things going in your world? Hey, Mike, are you with us? You muted?
You're muted.
Maybe Mike stepped out. Last chance? Okay. Okay, so I've got some topics for us to discuss, and I'm pulling them up. So we need to talk about where do you buy lots of chairs? How much do you advertise on behalf of your members when they are running programs, or how do you go about doing that? And investor-related stuff. And we could dive back into some of the other conversations we were talking about as well around free giving away space and alliances and competition and all of those things. So cool. Let's start with chairs, if that sounds good to you guys.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'm thinking specifically, Jennifer, about your geography, because one of the things that can work, and it's a little hit or miss, but one of the things that can work is Craigslist, looking for closeouts, liquidations, companies that are, liquidating an office space or something like that, and they just have a bunch of stuff. A lot of times it's kind of ratty. Chairs are expensive.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
and I know they have to be good. They have to be comfortable.
Yeah, they have to be comfortable. Now, depending on how you want to budget things, there are different ways of approaching this. You can go with the hodgepodge approach. If they don't have to all match or whatever, then you can obviously save a lot of money, but it makes the space less attractive. Other people go on the higher end. They need to have brand new everything, but they're going to spend a lot more per chair. But what I would highly recommend to everybody in this group is to go on Craigslist and put up some alerts for some stuff that you might want to buy, and just have the email alert sitting there active, because you never know when someone's going to post something for sale that you really could use. And I've heard stories of people really getting good deals. You may also want to specifically seek out furniture liquidator companies that are in your region, because there are people who deal in this where they'll sell a bunch of used office furniture on behalf of the company. And I don't know what your vehicle situation is like, but you're not ultra far from Philly, so you might want to be looking in that area on Craigslist and furniture liquidation, things like that. Idea. For a one-time trip, to rent a U-Haul and get get $10,000 worth of chairs for $1,000, it's worth it. I'm making up those numbers, but and how many chairs are we talking about, Jennifer?
Probably something like 16 or 18.
Okay. All right. So it's not the end of the world in terms of cost one way or another. I forget what I've mentioned in the past, but I am sitting right now in my favorite task chair. It is a Costco task chair, $99. You could just go in and get them. Can model it for you right now, actually. It's just great. There it is.
And you've checked this out compared to other chairs. This is superior as far as.
I mean, I can tell you that I have encountered a lot of chairs that are really expensive and of dubious enjoyment and quality. So I was just shocked when I saw this one, because it was $99 and it's adjustable and it's mesh and it's light and it's comfortable and it seems like it has everything I would want from a task chair, including the fact that it's not expensive and it's available in quantity, right? If it's Costco, buy as many.
They'll ship it.
So I highly recommend this chair as your $99 go-to. We actually spent at Newark City when we first opened. We spent about this much. I think we spent $100 a chair at Office Max for like these big cushy backed chairs, and we should have replaced them after about a year or two, and didn't, but we should have. So for the price, like you're getting way better for it. So that's like, this is my go-to. That's just my story. Does anyone else have any furniture recommendations? Melanie?
Yeah, so I have to second Tony's recommendation for furniture liquidations or finding offices that are liquidating, because I put the word out to my community, and as soon as there was a hotel here that they posted that morning, they said, we are having a sale from this time to this time. We're liquidating all of our office furniture.
Wow.
Oh my God, I dropped everything, went over there and picked up task chairs that look very similar to Tony's task chairs for $5 a piece.
No way.
They were in decent shape.
I'm channeling some of your energy here.
So put it out to your community, you know, that you're looking for, because when they do these liquidations, sometimes it's like from 3 to 6. That's it. You know,
that's awesome.
So I don't get to talk about this much because it's on the other end of the spectrum. But I've had to move out of spaces, and I've had to liquidate a space. You know, moving is one thing because you got to move everything, which is painful. But liquidating is so much more painful because you literally have tons of stuff that has to not be there anymore by a very hard deadline. And so all of a sudden, these things that are worth money end up being worth money to you for someone to take from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree, Tony. That's what happened with me with that office in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. They were shutting down at the end of the year, and I bought their conference table and 16 chairs off them for $240. So couldn't beat that. So.
Yeah, you know what? This is going to be show and tell day. And Mike, I want to hear a update from you. We asked you before, but I think you were you must have stepped away.
I did step away. Yeah, sorry about that.
I went to a startup that liquidated its offices and got like a whole bunch of poker chip sets, which we had a lot of fun with at the space, and like a couple of chairs and other random office supplies, and like 15 or 20 widescreen monitors.
No way.
One that I'm looking at right now as I'm talking to you, which I'm going to turn around and show you. So like this is, yeah, like I don't know what the 24-inch or whatever. Like this is a big monitor. We got a bunch of them for like pennies on the dollar. It was crazy. So this is the Craigslist search for everybody. Office liquidation.
That's where I found mine was Craigslist. The other place, to be honest with you, where I just picked up some other things is Facebook Marketplace. You know, because that way you just actually, you know, with it, it's pretty easy because you just search a radius of however much, and then just kind of put furniture, and I found some stuff in there as well. So just another space to check out.
Awesome, thanks, Mike. By the way, what's going on with you? What's your update?
Yeah, sorry. So I had to step away. I apologize. But no, it's going good. I had a bunch of meetings with potential members last week. I have a meeting with 2 members, kind of my person that's going to help me with the website activity, and somebody else who's going to help with social media marketing. So I've been signing up members, but it's been more of discounted memberships for really help with the space. So trying to form more communities. So kind of been giving them a discount for the first 6 months with, I got a copywriter in there who's going to help with the copy for a lot of the stuff. So I don't have to do it. So it's been actually really nicely collaborative.
Awesome. Cool. Good to hear. Any burning questions or kind of like challenges coming up for you?
You know, I think the burning challenge is time. You know, and that's just the one, all the as many hours in the day. But you know, you get over your little milestones. I know we talked about the door and at one point and lock, and we just got a simple keypad lock, and that works awesome. And everyone has it can do 19 different codes, and I've got so far each member a code, and it's worked out super thus far. So that and having a bunch of different groups in the space has been fun to be able to do. And then I started a fun event that I ended up finding an old Nintendo And so we're going to do a Super Mario challenge to see who can get the highest score in 5 minutes on an old school Nintendo. So that was just kind of a fun thing that we wanted to do. So
that is so wonderful. I love it. Do you have is that visible anywhere, like that conversation about that event?
No, it's kind of been more internal. I didn't do it. I've been using Facebook a lot to try and drive some of that. Obviously, some interesting things with Facebook lately with some of the changes they made, but it's still been pretty effective with our members sharing. But Instagram's been great in terms of posting and connecting with people for sure about the space and everything, because we're still kind of in soft launch phase, I guess we'd call it.
So now I feel like I'm volunteering you for a little bit of brain picking here, Mike. What's been going on with Facebook?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the whole piece where Facebook changed their algorithm, where they're not allowing or they're limiting the amount of business posts within the actual feed for people. So if you're a business, you're not getting as much of the feed actually into people within your radius. So they're kind of pushing it more that you have to boost your posts and be able to do that versus the organic nature of businesses posting. So that's why a lot of times if I'm doing a live stream, I live stream as myself versus live stream as my business, and then I back share it to the business because that seems to have a little bit better engagement. And I mean, I do get leads from that significantly, especially because I'm targeting people locally. So,
gotcha. And you said that you have been engaging people on Facebook around these conversations. Is that through a Facebook page or a private group or a public group or what?
So it's just the page, but then I also created a Facebook group that is just the members themselves. So I've been kind of leveraging using that. Partly because I had a physical therapy group that I was in that used that and leveraged it, and it's pretty powerful to be able to use a Facebook group as your group. So one of our member benefits is that you become a member of our private Facebook group too, and that's been pretty successful.
The interesting thing about a group is, as opposed to a page where it's very difficult to get people to see what you're posting, I feel like when you're in a group, you can get notified by every post. So
correct. Yeah. That's why I think the group is kind of fun. Yeah.
Absolutely better.
Get people in a group, right? I mean, wow. At least those who are willing. Great. What do you have? So for the page, what's your Facebook page?
It's facebook.com/cowork. So actually, why don't I just do this in the chat? So there it is. Hopefully, did I link that right? Hopefully I did. Let's see. Find out if I did. And my internet connection's slow, so.
I definitely didn't know that you could shorten URLs to fb.com. That's crazy.
Oh, okay. Well, then learn something else.
I didn't either.
Yep. So it makes it a little bit shorter. So yeah, I mean, we're doing well. You know what I mean? We've got pictures of the space, and I use the carousel feature just to be able to show different things of what our space looks like. So
the carousel feature is what I'm seeing at the top, where normally there's kind of a banner image, but yours
correct
the page through and different.
You can select which pictures you want to put in there, so it's kind of like a virtual tour of the space to be able to see just a couple of different things. Yeah.
My understanding is you can also put a video in there, right?
Yeah,
yep, you can. So at some point, I'm trying to reach out to a photographer who I'm going to give a discount for in the space, so that they will take professional video and photography in exchange for a discount and membership. So I'm trying to really leverage that.
Yeah, you guys, this is again, man, it's something I really do want to write down at some point as well. Using that first 6 months of space power to leverage it to barter, right? Sure, we want 100% occupancy of people paying full rate on day one, but if you're not going to have that, then every seat that you have has value that can be exchanged for other non-monetary value. And you need a lot of stuff when you're getting started. You need help with website, logo, photography, events, So, man, this is another great workshop, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
How to turn This is so clickbaity and delicious. Like how to turn your unused space into valuable stuff.
I've got a related question.
Yeah.
What you and Mike were just saying, and then also what we were saying about the free space. Would you say, because I'm in agreement that if you give it away, then, you know, people aren't going to want to buy it. But would you say that in your first few months, there is some value to giving space away to carefully targeted people just so that you have buzz in the space and warm bodies so that it's not dead when people walk in?
Yes, but again, everything within a structure that creates the sense of value. So let's say that you do want to do that. Maybe there's a particular person you have in mind. Find some way for there to be a value exchange, and some kind of expectation around what's there. So it's not we're giving it away. It's a program. It's a scholarship program. It's an accelerator program. Even, you know, you're providing valuable business development capabilities to a company that maybe doesn't have the resources to do it on their own. That's a tremendous CSR story, you know. Even if it's that, hey, I need you to take a survey of where your business is at right now in terms of its success and whatever. And then I'm going to ask you to take it again at the end so that because we intend to report on the impact we've had on the growth of your company.
That's a great idea.
Awesome. And again,
I gave away a co-working, just a 1 month pass to a Pitch It event that was going on in our region. So like it was a startup pitch event and they were looking for some prizes. So I donated, and they were like, that opened me up to like a huge community of like millennials and young people that really appreciated. Well, some of them didn't want the co-working, but so then I said, well, how about half a day of office or mail membership, something like that. So we came up with something that worked for them.
Awesome. That's great. So there you go. So did you have someone specific in mind?
Me?
Yeah.
Not really. There are quite a few people that I'm doing trade for services, including my architect. But I know of, okay, there's my neighbor down the street. She works for a guaranteed rate. She's super interested in my space, but admittedly she has her own office. And she's got a pretty good setup at home. But she's like, you know, let me know how I can help you. And I was thinking, okay, well, maybe she can come in and just like be a warm body for those first few weeks, you know, where it's important to have warm bodies. So really more like my personal network for people like that. I can think of like 4 or 5 people that kind of fit into that category, that has some flexibility and just want to help me out because they're nice. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So those people, right? You can see how just writing even like a silly little paragraph of copy really can shift the perception. Because for you, okay, you need warm bodies, but let's like flip it around and think about the perception from the outside and like what these people's needs are. Even if ultimately at the end of the day, you just need warm bodies, you want to get them in there. If you say, well, hey, that sounds great. I would love for you guys to be an ambassador. And the ambassador program is really special. It's invitation only. It's only available to 4 people. And, you know, and I'm going to give you, you know, 3 months of $300 membership. So that's $900 worth of services that I'm giving you, right? Just for example. And all I'm asking in exchange is that you write me great reviews on Google Local and Yelp and a testimonial and retweet all of my stuff on social media and take a picture.
Anything else?
For $900? That's cheap. You can get all that done in a half an hour, you know. But you know what I'm saying, right? Just like look out for opportunities to help like raise awareness and be a cheerleader and say nice things and, you know, like chat up people who are coming to visit or whatever. Like you don't need to ask a lot, but you could even say like, hey, these are a list of things that we need ambassadors to help us with, and just pick 2, you know, or like pick 1 each month, you know, And that way, like you just want it to aggregate. Although I do recommend very strongly doing everything you can to get your members to write reviews on Yelp and on Google Maps. When I search co-working Duluth, like literally if I'm going to be in Duluth and I search co-working Duluth, I'm going to see like Google results of a bunch of spaces. If I see the little Google Maps thing pop up with the list of the spaces and one of them at the top is 5 stars with 10 reviews, I'm going to be like, holy smokes, this is the place, right? So that it makes a huge difference. And you think visually, like there's the 5-star rating, it says 10 reviews, there's maybe a little blurb that's like, oh my God, this space has changed my life. Huge difference. And I've gotten a ton of traffic on Google Maps. Now, I don't know how that translates in smaller cities. And I also don't know how much of that is due to the fact that my place was 1 letter away from being New York City. So I might have gotten more traffic than I should have, but I did get a lot of traffic through Google Maps. So it was legit. So huge, such an easy thing to put out to your community. Or when somebody, this is also great to have in your mind, is when somebody says, oh my God, I love your idea. How can I help? Say, write me a review. 1 paragraph on Google is gonna help me for years, for forever, for as long as you're in that space. I mean, 1 review now could make you, could contribute to many thousands of dollars of business for you for a long time. Wow.
And then where does that go? How do you tell them? Like, where do they do that?
Look me up on Google Maps. If it's over an email, then send them a link. And by the way, all of this is assuming that you've posted your business to Google Maps with photos and all of the links and verified the address, which you absolutely should do as soon as pretty much as soon as you have your address. At least get that process started. And then photos as soon as you can, even if they're like renderings, even if they're a picture of you guys at a happy hour talking about it, like just getting that listing up and getting it visible, the metadata on it is hugely valuable. Again, just picturing somebody Googling co-working in your area, seeing a little blob Google result versus seeing it on the map with the phone number and the address and all that is just, it's super huge. And it helps a lot for events too. Someone's coming to an event in your space. I want to just be able to tap in the first few letters of the name of your business and then have it autocomplete, and I just tap it. I never have to look at the address, and then I just hit, boom. I tap the thing, I tap direct me there, and then GPS will tell me how to get to your space. Makes it that much easier for someone to come to attend an event, but then also think about, hey, this is a legit operation, right? Like if I want to search for the Staples in my town and get directions to it, I type STA and it shows up and I get directions. That's what legit businesses do. So, yeah, Google Maps, big fan. Don't leave it off your checklist. Oh man, so many good topics today. We're just like knocking them dead. I love it. How are we doing on this thread? We got a couple other threads we want to touch on. Yeah.
I had one comment on the furniture. So I've been talking to the guys at Proximity Space. Do you know those guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you using Proximity?
Yes, I am using Proximity.
So Dennis mentioned to me that they're partnering with like 4 different furniture manufacturers.
Oh.
And this is a new thing. So they're not like advertising it, and he sent me the list, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but I don't know what the pricing is like or anything. But if you're interested in that, you could reach out to them and ask about it, and I'm sure they would hook you up with that info.
I will.
Okay, thanks.
On the furniture side too, I would highly recommend, because I've got some of those chairs that Tony was referring to with the cushy backs, and mine are all mismatched, and I wish I had have gotten all of them matching in the beginning. Didn't pay much for them. They're nice chairs, but they don't match, and a little regretting that now. Eventually I'll be able to change them all, but if you can get all your, like the Costco task chairs or, all the same chairs, it makes a huge difference, because people are constantly moving them around and this and that. And yeah, I feel like I'm always trying to make them look the best they can in the space. So good idea to get them all matching, unless they're really cool, different colors or something, but mine are just mismatched office chairs.
Yeah, we're going to try to get everything to match.
Yeah.
You're validating that.
Yeah.
So, we're getting towards the end of the hour. We got two other topics we want to touch on. So I'll just kind of lightning round one of them quick, which is advertising for members when they're offering workshops. Charlotte, gosh, we didn't even really get to hot seat you. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. It's one of those tricky things. I mean, advertise as much as you can, play up the fact that members are leading stuff in your space because it's super valuable. But, you also don't want to create more work for yourself because someone else wanted to teach a yoga class or something, like you want to fit that into your own strategy.
Yeah, I think I've been spending way too much time, and somebody pointed out to me, does anybody really realize how much time you are spending on doing that? And I mean, I enjoy doing the whole social media thing. I enjoy making posts, all that, but it's not for me, it's for the members. So I think I need to maybe teach them how to do it themselves, or, I'm getting a co-op student in, but then again, I want the co-op student to be doing stuff for me, for the space, not for the members. So yeah. I think I got caught up in doing too much, just because you want their events to be successful, so that they'll hold more there. I just got caught up in that whole circle.
Yeah, it's an endless pit of promotional work. So, and your time is frankly too valuable for that stuff. I mean, you especially being a veteran and a regional expert, I mean, delegate that stuff if you can, or just don't do it. I mean, more than necessary. Like what you're describing, if you're needing some validation that this is something that's taking more of your time than it ought to, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
You're a successful businesswoman, things to do, and a lot of people can do social media stuff. So hey,
thank you for validating that.
Highly delegatable too. I mean, playing with even doing like an online. There's a lot of people who will do social media stuff for pennies on the dollar, and and I don't put a lot of value in social media because it's just so much work to get people's attention. And the beauty what we have is we have a physical space where we can really meet people face to face.
Yeah.
And the kind of attention that you get in a face-to-face interaction is worth so much more than any online interaction. So
that's a good point. That's a good point to remind the members that too. Instead of, sitting behind the computer promoting their events, go out and meet people and tell them about it.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to use social media, one of my favorite phrases from meetup.com, they use the phrase, use the internet to get off the internet. So if you're going to use social media, do it to invite people to something in real life. If you want to promote your paid thing, offer up a free thing that's in person. Come meet me for tea and we can bullshit about, social media strategies. And then if you're interested in my workshop, I'll give you, a coupon if you come to my event, so that getting people together in real life is really good.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So 4 minutes. Well, let's talk really quick about money. We can talk about this more extensively in a subsequent call. Jen, maybe you want to get on the hot seat next week and we can do this. But in terms of do I want to go with an investor? So we really do need to give this proper time, but I'll just say this right now to give you something to play with. For one, there's lots of different definitions of what an investor could look like or what they could be. I think on the one extreme end of what I think the more specific definition of an investor is someone who buys into a stake in your company with the expectation that it's going to grow exponentially. So if you're doing a startup and you think this is going to be a franchise and you're going to have 500 locations or whatever it is, then there's an investor for that. Which I don't, if that's what you want to do, we can have that conversation. But there are all various levels in between those things, all the way down to like a patron or an underwriter, somebody where, they give you the money because they want to support economic development in the region, and they don't have any direct expectation of what they get back, or maybe they have an expectation you're going to report to them on your progress, something like that. There's loans. There's it could just be financing, right? There was a time I needed $30,000 in order to be able to sign a lease to put down the deposit, and I didn't have it. But I had a friend who had lots of cash and was very grateful to me for helping him get his startup up. So he loaned me the money. It wasn't even about, he didn't give it to me. He didn't give it to me for free. There was strings attached, but he gave me financing I couldn't have gotten otherwise, and it saved the business, right? So like, that's one thing. And there's sponsorship, and there's, somebody could sponsor a scholarship program, and so this is another way you can give away space, where you can say, okay, for 10 grand, I can put, X people in this space for X months, and I can offer that up as a program. Now you've got rad people in the space who aren't paying for it, or maybe they're paying a drastically discounted rate, and underwritten by such and such local federal credit union, or such and such philanthropic individual who wants to support economic development in the community. Special thanks to Fred Hayes for his support. So there's lots of ways to take people's money, I guess is what I'm saying. And you want to obviously find the way that involves you giving the least back. You want to find the most equitable arrangement and supportive arrangement for you. But the last piece I'll say in the short time we have is it starts with relationships. So just if you're meeting people, if you're going to city council meetings and you encounter people who, if you want to get into the same place as those people, you figure out where to find those kinds of people. And once you meet someone who you think might be someone who could support you in some way, you probably don't know what that is at first. And it might take a long time before the business transaction actually happens. And it could be that you've been planting these seeds for a long time. It could be someone you met years ago has been following your journey, and now it's time for that to pop. But spending time with that person and just meeting with them, getting to know them getting to know you, that gives you a better basis for figuring out where on that spectrum of stuff there might be an opportunity for you to work together. So
yeah, I was thinking when I launched my founding member campaign, I might also have an option for being a sponsor, an underwriter or something, because I have been networking my behind off for many years when I didn't even know why I was networking, and I feel like this is why.
Yeah.
I need to tap into some of those people who probably won't be members, but I know they have cash.
So if you've been building social capital in your region, people that can be, some of it can be converted to financial capital, and in a lot of cases they don't even want the money back, right? I did a Kickstarter campaign when we upgraded from a sublease to our own lease, where we really needed to spend a lot of money fast and didn't have it. But by that point I had been active for 3 years. It was only 3 years at that point in New York, and I had such a network that when we launched the Kickstarter campaign, we raised, $18,000. And that, I think, was very modest compared to what we could have raised if I were doing a better job with it. And doesn't count personal loans that I got from people and sponsorships that I got from people and like other things. So we ended up financing, over a year, probably $100,000, but a lot of it came from, social capital, relationships. You're putting yourself out there. Don't forget this. This is how we're gonna wrap this up. You're doing something really hard and scary and important for your city. And when you sign the lease, people who get it, especially experienced, successful business people who are your potential patrons, respect what you're doing. And it's a long-term investment. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of risk. Mm-hmm. And people who appreciate that will support you in helping you to get through this hardest time in the beginning. So, definitely open up those channels, allow for those channels to come in. Because an extra, $1,000 or $10,000 here and there, definitely
huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no doubt there's people in your city who will help you one way or another, whether it's a low interest loan or a sponsorship or a scholarship. anything like that. Big help.
That's awesome.
Man,
That was really helpful.
Yeah, that was a great introduction to that. Do you have a breakdown somewhere in the toolkit on how to convert social capital into financial capital? Like an overview? That would be fantastic.
It's on his to-do list. What is it?
I think I have about 6 new products I want to make just from this conversation. So, you know what? So, Augie, I think we're gonna make this a topic for next week. We've talked about finance before. There's probably a video where we've touched on this before, but we could probably just keep talking about it once every other month, and there's always going to be hunger for us to talk about money. So, yeah, let's just plan to make it a topic for next week, and then we can use this vehicle to kind of create some stuff around it.
Cool.
And if you want, so one of the other things we can do is we can create a little co-working session like we did a couple weeks back for letters of intent. And then that gives me a structure where I can, during that time I can sit down and really go through it.
Let's do it.
Cool. Does somebody want to post to the group to schedule a co-working session? Augie, I'm nominating you.
I sure can, yes.
Great, thank you. Cool, guys. Any other burning things? Send an email to the group or to the Slack channel, and otherwise, I'll see you guys in a week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye.